All right. Hey, everyone. How's it going? We're just going to get started in a few minutes here. So be free to chill for the first little bit. And yeah, just starting off, we're going to go over some questions or Q&A. So you can ask me any kinds of questions that you want. Then we'll go into a little bit about Flutter and Dart and the whole installation process. And then we'll go over some of the functionality. Yeah, so I'll just wait for some people to get in. How's everyone doing? Are you enjoying Global Hack Week? Do you have a particularly favorite session that you've attended so far? Yeah, and I'll also talk a little bit about myself and what I do. So one question in chat: what's the difference between Android and Flutter? So Flutter is a toolkit. Another way of describing it is the two things I'm going to be using here are Flutter and Dart. Dart is a programming language, front-end programming language, and Flutter is kind of a framework you can use for Dart, but it's also a toolkit just for app development in general. And then Android is just the device. So like the one I got right here. And a little bit about myself. So I'm one of our new MLH coaches. I was also top 50 hacker of 2021. I'm the director of VT Hacks, so that's Virginia Tech's flagship hackathon. We're actually coming up on our 10th anniversary, so that's exciting. And I've also supported a lot of hackathons, around like 50 or more, as like a mentor, judge, all that stuff. So yeah, for these first minutes, I'm just gonna answer any questions you guys have about, or sorry, everyone has about app development, or just myself and some of my experience. And while we get questions going in, just talking about some stuff that I'm doing at the moment. Well, one kind of independent thing that I'm working on is just learning about quantum computing. So I think quantum computing is actually really interesting, just because it's so fundamentally different from like classical computing. It's like a completely different thing. Like the fundamentals of even how like bits work in normal computing, it's like fundamentally different with qubits. So I think that's really interesting. So that's just something that I'm studying on the side. And another thing I'm working on is inventing my own programming language. So it's more of a long-term endeavor, and it's something that I honestly need to get back into doing because I've been very busy recently. But yeah, it's definitely something that I want to do, either tailored towards a particular subset of machine learning, or towards quantum computing potentially. So yeah, those are the things that I'm working on. I have a talk. I believe it's September 13th at 5 p.m. EST. And I'll be talking a bit about my internship that I had this summer and some of the takeaways I had from that. So look forward to that. But yeah, I suppose I'll just let any questions roll in as they come. But from now, I guess I can just get into the setup of everything. So first, we just need to get our dependencies. So install everything we need to install. And first, we go to flutter.dev. And, pick our OS. And first we'll install Flutter. And while that's done, Android, and get Android Studio. So you can use Android Studio. There's also IntelliJ. There's also Visual Studio Code that's compatible with Flutter and Dart. You can use any of those options. I just prefer Android Studio. Then let's just extract. All right, stuff's just loading, I think. But also just want to learn more about you all. So I guess what's everyone's like experience with programming? What's your experience with app development? Like, have you not developed an app before? In which case, you're not alone. That's exactly what this workshop is for. Yeah, I'd love to hear about what everyone's experience is. Let me actually tweak some of the settings here because it's looking a little choppy. Nice, looks like we got a decent crowd here. People who've used Flutter for 3 years, wow, and people who've haven't really used it. So that's really good to see. Oh, and one thing what you want to make sure to do when you're installing Android Studio is check this little box, Android Virtual Device. That's basically what we're going to be using to emulate on. So just make sure you check that box when you're installing. Someone's asking about setup on Mac. Well, while this stuff is downloading, we can actually check that out. That's a good thing to point out. Yep. So it seems fairly similar where you download the zip and then you just unzip it. Yep. And another good site, just to have bookmarked, is pub.dev. So this is kind of like Pip. It has a bunch of packages. The sound, yeah, like I was saying, pub.dev is really cool because it has a lot of different packages. Like there's different animations you can use. There's um, widgets, all different kinds of things. So that's really cool. Oops. And this. Why should you pick Flutter over React Native? React Native is great too. Um, I'd say for most like hackathon or most purposes in general, it's not really something about which is better. It's more about I guess your personal tech stack because like for example like React would use JavaScript, and if you're not familiar with JavaScript, you don't like using it, I'd recommend you give Flutter. And this is something I really like. This is an architectural overview of just like how Flutter is designed. So basically, everything in Flutter is open, and there's a lot of different aspects to that. So um, actually, here, so just to give a basic like hierarchy, there's the app itself, and then, oops, yeah. Then after the app, you have the scaffold. That there's body, and then like there's all different components, and it's kind of ordered like how you imagine like a book is ordered. So like you have like the outer casing of the book, the thing holding everything together. Then you have the pages, then the paragraphs, and then the individual text. Kind of organized in that way. Cool. And so now we have Android Studio installed. So we can do can so we can install both Flutter and Dart plugins for Android Studio, just because there's some good built-in functionality there. All right, looks like Flutter is still installing, and the next part of Android Studio, we just need to declare the Sdk path. So once that's installed, we can just get in there, and then can show you around a basic Flutter app. All right, so while I'm waiting for that to download, yep, I guess we can have a quick little break right here of Q&A just as things download. So yeah, I'd love to hear about what everyone's building. Yeah, like I mentioned, if you got any questions about me being a coach, top 50, being a director, anything like that, I'm free to answer them. And while I'm at it, I think I'll put a list of helpful links up in chat, just so you have links to download everything that I've been talking about. Right, there we go. There you go. So I just posted links to some of the stuff I've been talking about. So a link to the Flutter SDK, and then a link to IDEs that should work. So Android Studio and Visual Studio Code. Okay, it looks like it's going to be downloaded soon. All right, now I can answer some questions in chat. How long have you been using Flutter, and what's your experience? So I started using Flutter during my internship. So I interned with General Mills this summer, which I know people don't really consider it as a common tech company, but actually had a really good time there. I worked on the Blue Buffalo team, and I worked specifically on their Buddies app, which it's kind of like a social media app for people's pets in their loyalty program. So I was developing a new feature for their app, and then their stuff is built using Flutter partially. So I learned quite a bit of Flutter during then. But outside of that, I'm more a back-end data science person. So I work more with machine learning, data science, artificial intelligence, stuff like that. Right? Everything's almost downloaded. So for any last questions, feel free to post them in chat. Guess some other general things about me while I wait for this to download. Just some stuff I generally do in my free time. I'm quite the gamer. So I play some competitive Overwatch, play some competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, which is good. Also read quite a bit, read some manga, and obviously do hackathon stuff. Oh, you're learning ML? Yeah, that's really great. Yeah, I think my domain is mainly in Python. That's definitely where I'm most at home. Definitely working with pandas, scikit-learn, stuff like. All right. And while that's finishing up, I can kind of walk you through what the Flutter code, what some Dart code looks like. So these are imports, and then this is your initialization statement. And then most things in Flutter are widgets. So there are two kinds of widgets. There's stateless widgets and stateful widgets. Stateless widgets are things that aren't really changed, so they're kind of constant values. And then there's stateful widgets, which are things that are dynamic and more interactive. So, for example, if you have like a list of items you want to implement, like a checkbox, when you click it, check mark pops up. You would want a stateful widget for that. And then, like I was mentioning with the book analogy, where you have the cover, the pages, then the paragraphs, and the words kind of in that hierarchy like that, you have a similar thing going on here. So at the top, you have, the actual widget, and then you have a scaffold right here, which is top part. You have the app bar, the title, the body, which has its own stuff going on, and then you have other things that you can use inside of that. So, for example, like elevated button is one option, and then you can also do things like on pressed, go to a different page, interact with something, stuff like that. Right, it's almost downloaded. And while this is finishing up downloading, some of the things I want to know is what does everyone like want to build? Like, is there a particular kind of app you want to make? Um, is there a certain functionality you want it to have? Like, is it for like your own creation, or is it for like hackathon project? What do you want to build? All right, and another thing, I'm not sure if I already had this on my machine or not, but that's why I'm just double checking. Is, so when installing, let's just go to the actual programming language we're going to be using, Dart. You can install it using Chocolatey, which is basically a package manager, kind of like pip if you've used Python. So let me just install it here. I'm gonna integrate some animations. Nice. Got kind of stuck using Flutter the first time during hackathon. Yeah, I think I've always had that had that issue, especially because front end stuff isn't my main domain. I'm mainly in data science and ML. But I think kind of full stack development is really cool. But yeah, I think there's some granular details you kind of learn when you're actually doing something during a hackathon compared to just like following a guide. Just because there are definitely always issues like that. Dart seems pretty cool as a language. Yeah, I think Dart. I think the main draw of it is just that it's very intuitive and easy to kind of pick up, kind of like Python in terms of like it's very readable. I would say in a lot of ways. All right. Let's install. Now that we have Chocolatey, we can actually install Dart. All right. Now we just gotta install Dart. Now it seems Flutter's installed. What's your recommended state management package? I honestly don't have a huge preference. Honestly, I think people just kind of go with what they learn at first. I just kind of used Redux just because I've done a bit of web development, and because of that, it was more familiar to me. But yeah, I think a lot of them are, or most of them are pretty fine, at least for like a hackathon kind of purpose. Let's see. Yep. Nope. Just stuff right now. Yeah, what else can I talk about? I guess the most kind of up-to-date thing is definitely working on organizing VTX. So, like I said, that's Virginia Tech's hackathon that I direct, and that's going to be happening November 11th to 13th, I believe. We're planning. Yeah, it's going to be really fun. So, doing a lot of work for that. It's also 10th anniversary, so I have to make it special somehow. So, I'd love it if in chat you could all put some like ideas for swag you have, because that's something I'm always looking for, is like ideas for new and interesting swag. Like, I remember we had some ideas last year of like, I don't know, these like plushies that were like branded with a logo. Um, we had some other ideas. Yeah, like fidget spinners, which are kind of weird, but yeah, I'd love to hear what ideas you have for like interesting swag. All right. So here we have, so here there's a lot of information, but just kind of want to break it down here. So tool and the folder. I mean, idea is mainly just for like configurations with Android Studio, so you won't really be doing much with that. This Android folder, it's you rarely need to actually edit this, but this is the actual Android project, so you could actually utilize this Android application, but without Flutter, so you could use it with something else like React. So it's available on its own, in its own folder. iOS, if you're developing for iOS, there's the test, which is if you want to make test cases. There's pubspec.yaml, which is basically where you manage your dependencies. And the main 99% of where you're going to spend your time is in the lib folder. So that's going to have main.dart. That's going to have all your other screens and stuff like that. And now first what I want to do is actually set up in Emulator. So let's just where is it? Oh, Device Manager. And so you can actually connect a physical device if you want to test on that, but for now I'll just create a virtual device. And so you see there's all these different kinds of devices you can use. I preferably choose one with the Play Store icon right here just because it has some more functionalities you can use for testing, stuff like that. And here you have all these different images that you can use. Preferably you should use the one with the highest API level that's the most tested, up to date. Right, just gotta wait for install. Yep, a lot of this is just waiting for stuff to load, but you know, I think it's good to have kind of complete start to end guide for installation and all that, just because you know sometimes you do have those issues. Yeah, and we may actually get done a bit earlier than I anticipated, because realistically, I'm just going to go over some of the well, completely set up everything, and then just go into some of the functionality for Flutter and Dart. Then after that, we can do pretty much whatever we want. Right, then, so now we've created our virtual device. One thing Google will send you to install from the SDK manager is the Google USB driver. All right, cool. Hmm. It's having some sort of issue because I couldn't really install Haxen, but let's try this and see. Right, so yeah, for some reason that Haxen thing was having a bit of an issue. So I'm gonna try using different system image and see if that issue still comes up or not. But hopefully we'll have our virtual device come up and we can actually display our Dart code on there. Try one more time. So let's try fixing this. Right, let's try that. Okay, let's try going to I think you have to download the SK from here. Yeah, and after this, I think I want to chill out with something fun, just because, you know, depending on where you are in the world, it's probably very late. So I kind of want to do something low key for y'all. But I don't know. Gonna think about that, I guess. Remember last time I played a match of Pokemon Showdown because I played there competitively often. I kind of commentated over how I um, played it in a match, so and people seem to like that before. So maybe I'll do that again. Not sure. Let's look up our error. Let's see where that takes us. Oh, got to check the folder. All right, so while I'm waiting for that to do this thing, let me actually just kind of get into some of the code here. Actually, can I just do this? Let me actually try Edge. It's a bit more lightweight. All right, so while it's waiting on the connection, let me actually get into some of this. It's actually like creating your own main.dart. So you have this one that's automatically created. So if the emulated would work, which I'm not sure if it's because of my machine or if it's because I have enough RAM, honestly. My computer's a bit older. But Is something happening? No. Okay. Well, I can get something going here. All right. So you can get it to work in. If you can get it to work in the Android emulator, great. No, for some reason it wasn't working for me, but here's what it would look like. So you have the home page right here, and all it is just push the button this many times. Each time you push it, it increments counter by 1. And it's just a general kind of outline like here. And that's what this pre-constructed main node art is. So if you actually wanted to create something, let's so first the actual method declaration. And we'll create our class. And stateless widget. And we'll create our widget. Whether we'll build it. Then we'll create build context. Let's see, if we want to turn a material app. Well, first let's actually that as well. Material.dart. Here's where we can create different kind of layers to our app. So like I mentioned, there's scaffold, and we can have an app bar. Let's call it app bar. And let's just add a title. I'll put some text. That, let's add in the body. We'll just make that some text. All right. And while I'm doing this, feel free to ask some questions, and I'll just continually, check that. Oh, accidentally put a colon there. Let's try that again. All right. And really show is kind of like what we had before in that app setup, where it just has the title and then the text, and then the material app is just that top blue bit. But we can kind of expand the body of it, I think. Instead of text, let's maybe just do a column. Yep, and oops, here's what it looks like. So it's just the same thing, not formatted, but yeah, that's just what it looked like. We can add some styling later. Column. Let's do a raised button. Yeah, and something that you might notice is that I didn't have to recompile the whole thing. It just kind of reloaded this window. So it can do the same in Android emulator, but that's something that I think is really cool about Flutter is that it has, if you see this lightning bolt right here, it has Flutter Hot Reload. So that's that you don't have to recompile the whole thing every single time. It can kind of, you know, update your changes in around like 10 seconds, something like that. Yeah, that's something I think is really useful about Flutter. All right, so now we do have a button, but it doesn't exactly do anything. But let's say if we want it to do something. Let's make a method for that. So realistically, we can just have it print. And then, so the reason it doesn't do anything is because on pressed, we've just made it null. But now, since we have a method, now we can call button the behavior. Oh. All right, so now I'm able to click this and then see right here in our output as you click the button. You can do that as many times as we want. And yeah, I think we have some time left, not too much. I think just the last thing I'll show is some styling. I think this might look a little better. Yeah, text, you can style. Let's just, make the font size larger. And let's align that text to the center. Okay, now we see. So we have this thing called some text, literally. Again, we have this where shows up when we click the button, so there isn't an action, but it isn't exactly centered. So what we can do. All right, let me try to get this container. See if we can put this up. Rinse out documentation. Actually, let's just change up some of the behaviors. I think I'll show this last little bit. I think I'll kind of go over how to kind of change pages. All right, and let's just put all that code from before in a new class. Huh, that's weird. It's weird. It's not auto. It's not auto stylizing the text. All right. Well, don't have to reload. I can just show you another base of what it should look like for if you want to make like a new page. So the main thing here is routing. So basically, the reason that I kind of split this into a different part is because of how routing works in Flutter. So basically, we have my app, and we basically just want to make it so the page is base app, and then base app is basically what I put our scaffold and everything into. This is kind of just pseudocode, but let's say we want to create a new page. So class. Say we want to make a login page. Let's do an at bar. Let's welcome user. Okay, and so similar to base app, we now have something called login page. And so something we can do is if we wanted to actually implement this, what we can do is for onPressed, let's say we change the functionality of onPressed. Use creator push named. So we have context and we have a route name. Context is basically just what we have over here. So context is taken care of, but we have our route name also. And so what we can do here is we can add in our route, but first we should create a route here. Let's have it be a string and a widget builder. And let's give it a name. So if we want to name it login page. All right. I'm not gonna run this is just to give you a rough idea of what you can do moving forward, but if we put such login page right here, we have our route. So now we basically changed the onPressed functionality so that when it's onPressed, it navigates to a new route, and we define that route here. And then that route basically tells it to build a new widget. So basically, go to a new page with a new scaffold, new title ball, just a new screen in general. So basically, that's how you can create a new page from a button. All right, so that's the majority of what I wanted to go over in this workshop. Like I said, it's mostly just the installation. Just wanted to go over some of the functionality of Flutter and Dart because I thought it'd be interesting. But we do have a few minutes left here if you want to do anything. Let's terminate that. So let me actually pick up. So I think I'll give a few minutes to just have anyone ask any questions about what we worked on, or just about me, my experience. And then after that, I might play a match of Pokemon Showdown, just because I did that last time and people seem to like it. So, yeah. Feel free to ask me any questions about hackathons, being an MLH coach, being a hackathon director, anything like that. Yeah, like I said, this is mainly going to be a chilled stream because I know a lot of you around the world, it's very late for you, like maybe 2, 3 a.m. Hopefully you get some sleep though. But yeah, I just wanted this to be more of a chill stream. And I'll give another minute just if anyone has any questions before I move on, play a match, and then yeah, and then that'll be it for the stream. All right. I don't think anyone has any questions. If you do, feel free to post in chat. Make sure to answer it. Honestly, that's mostly it for what I had. So have some fun. All right, so this just letting you know, this isn't programming related. This is just something fun. So, like I mentioned, one thing that I do in my free time is I play competitive games. So I play some competitive Overwatch. I also play some Yu-Gi-Oh, and I also play some competitive Pokemon. So yeah, I think I'd kind of like to teach you a little bit about how competitive Pokemon works. So first, I'll kind of explain what's going on here. So in competitive Pokemon, you have different tiers of Pokemon that you can use. And they're based on popularity of usage. So the highest tier in the kind of like quote unquote official tiers is OU, all the way down to nice emoji, bro. Is OU all the way down to ZU, with OU being the most popular and ZU being the lowest. So if I go to this random team I have here, if I try to create a new team, I have all of these different Pokemon that I can choose from, and these are all classified as OU. And then I can choose all the way down from ones in UU. But if I were to make a team in UU, I can't choose any OU Pokemon because they're too widely used. They're too good. So I really like that because it gives a fighting chance for Pokemon that, let's say, aren't good when compared to literally every other Pokemon. But in their own tier, they have a good niche, which I really like because it keeps things interesting. And so just going over, let's say this team, for example, there's a few different archetypes here to different Pokemon. Going over this team right here, this team is kind of a SAM-based balance team. So one of the bigger definers of the team is Tyranitar. So Tyranitar has an ability called Sandstream. And basically, when you switch it out, or when you put it out, it summons Sandstorm, which is a weather condition. And all that does is, well, it gives Rock-type Pokemon a special defense boost. But it also deals chip damage, which is really nice because over a lengthy game, it can deal some good passive damage through that. And it can also give buffs to certain Pokemon. And so I've made it so that 3 of my Pokemon out of 6 are immune to that. So just kind of benefiting from that. And so one kind of archetype is a Wall Breaker. So Melmetal right here, basically from its stats, basically I can summarize it is that it deals a lot of damage. It is pretty slow, but it deals a lot of damage. So if you have Pokemon with really high defenses, it can kind of break through that. Another archetype is a Sweeper. So I have this Pokemon right here, Tapu Lele. And basically, the idea of this is to be really fast, deal decently strong hits, and then basically just after some damage has been dealt to Pokemon, after they've taken some stand damage and some residual attack damage, you can kind of finish them off really easily. And I make sure it holds a choice scarf so it has a speed boost. Then there's Toxapex, which it can put out some hazards. So it can do this hazard that makes it so Pokemon get poisoned when they switch in. And overall, it's just pretty bulky. It has a lot of good defensive stats. And there's Heatran, which I like a special defensive set on it. So yeah, it deals generally good damage, and it does have some bulk to back it up. And yeah, but I think what I'll do to kind of showcase, just like without building a team at all, like how you might want to battle. Completely random battle here. So I have no idea what these Pokemon are. And I haven't built a team or anything like that. So these are all completely random. So right here, so my opponent has a Phalanx, which is a fighting type, and I'm a psychic type, which is good. But I think that Phalanx has Throat Chop, which is a dark type move, which could do a ton of damage to me. But I have a Focus Sash, and the Focus Sash allows me to survive with 1 HP, so let me go for Side Shock. Okay, so it just switches out, which is good. I get a free Side Shock off, deal some damage. See, I don't really have a good switch in here, or I don't think a great one, just because. Yeah, no knife Pokemon are super defensive. It's probably going to go for an Earthquake here, just because it's super effective. I think what I can do, because I'm probably faster than it, I can go for Max Knuckle, so I can Dynamax. That almost KO'd. Okay, so I went for Throat Chop. And so I know Max Knuckle is going to KO anyway, but what I can do is I can use Max Lightning here. And so what Max Lightning does is it sets up electric terrain. And Raichu's ability, or Alolan Raichu's ability, is Surge Surfer, which basically what that does is it increases its speed in electric terrain. So that's a really good way of using Dynamax. So now I'm for sure gonna outspeed this Gengar. And I'm not gonna use Max Mindstorm just because that would have Psychic Terrain. I just kind of want to keep my Electric Terrain for now, so I'll just leave that. All right, now I think I'll go for Psyshock. All right, and I go down here, but that's fine. Does a decent amount of damage valves out. Phalanx has 174 speed. So I think I'll go to Comfey here, and I'm comfortable Calm Minding. Just because I don't think it has much that can do. Oh wait, well it has Poison Jab, but now I can just Training Kiss. And because of its ability Triage, it has priority on Training Kiss, so it will always go first no matter what. Now Celesteela. Can run a lot of different sets. I think I'll Scout here with Copperajah. It's probably going to go for a Steel type move, or it's actually going to Dynamax. That's good because I take that decently well. I think I'll just take this opportunity to get some rocks up. Yep, so it doesn't really have much for my Copperajah that I can see, so it's good I got some rocks up. So next time it switches into Pokemon, it'll take some damage, which is nice. But now it does have some boosts, which is annoying. Yep, and I go down here, that's fine. So now it's definitely going to be faster than most of what I have. So now I can see, I pretty much know its moveset. And I think my best bet here is Porygon Z. This isn't a great kind of matchup, but I think I'll go for Ice Beam, see what that does. I'll just Ice Beam again. I could have gone for a Nasty Claw there, but I didn't know that it had Protect. Is it going to Protect again? Oh. So I think the best option here is I can go for Low Kick. I might actually just go into Gengar, which if it does, I'd honestly be glad for it because it would lose all those boosts. Okay, that only deals 90%. Alright, so this battle's pretty much lost, which, is kind of normal for random battles because you don't get to choose your team at all. I think in this last little bit, before I move on to any last Q&A, one thing I'll kind of go into is just some of my favorite strategies. So there is this one that I do like. So I play some older generations, so you can play, the newest games. I kind of like playing some of the older games competitively, just because I find that they have pretty interesting kind of metagame there. And one of my favorite Pokemon strategies is, this one is Copycat Lucario. So what Copycat Lucario does is basically, so you want to choice Scuffle on it, just make sure that it outspeeds most stuff. Give it some good coverage moves, but the most important thing is Copycat. So in this game, there's hazards. So hazards are things like Stealth Rock. Right? Basically, when an opponent's Pokemon switches in, it gets damaged a little bit. So it's not usually too much damage. It's passive damage. So it's more so like over the course of the game, that damage will rack up. So there are hazards like spikes, like Stealth Rocks. There's quite a few of them. And so one user is called, to have one? So one user of spikes is Skarmory. And what Skarmory can do, sometimes Skarmory does run moves like Roar or Whirlwind. That's very common. But it doesn't have to be Skarmory. It can be anything. So what Copycat Lucario does is basically, so Roar or Whirlwind, they allow the opponent to basically switch out one of your Pokemon into something else. And it has a negative priority, meaning it'll always go last in the turn, just to make sure that, if you have a really fast Pokemon using Roar or Whirlwind, they aren't just switching you out constantly. It always goes last. That's the whole balance thing behind it. So what happens with Copycat Lucario is if something roars or whirlwinds Copycat Lucario in, it can use Copycat, which uses the last move used in battle. So it'll copycat that roar or that whirlwind. But the thing about that is that when you use Copycat on a move, it doesn't take into account the priority. So that thing I said about Roar having negative priority, meaning it always goes last, in order to balance it. So if you had a really fast Pokemon, you can't just switch out, and then the opponent wouldn't be able to do anything. Copycat kind of, so it'll basically Copycat the Roar. You can use Roar, and you can use Copycat, or however many PP Roar has. I think it has 16 or something. But over and over, basically, you can use Copycat and Lucario to use the Roar, and because it doesn't have that negative priority downside, you can just keep doing it, and you're most likely faster than the opponent because you're investing in a lot of speed. And so you can keep just roaring the opponent out, into switching in a new Pokemon. They get damaged by stealth rocks and spikes like entry hazards. And that keeps happening over and over again for like 16 turns until the opponent rage quits because they're annoyed with you. So that's always fun. All right. But that's pretty much all I had for the stream. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm going to be sticking on for a little bit longer just in case anyone has any last questions. Again, about what we worked on, what I do as an emulation coach, as a director, anything like that. But yeah, this is a pretty chill stream. Thanks for coming. And yeah, I'll see you all around. All right, getting any last questions you have, get about me or anything that I do. Otherwise, I'm gonna probably end the stream, so I'll leave it for another minute to see if anyone has anything they want to ask. Oh, that also reminds me. There's the link. Here's the check-in link. I posted this in the Discord, but in case you didn't see it before, here it is. Thank you, Harryam Chowdhury, for asking that. Well, doesn't seem like anyone has any other questions. If you do, feel free to, ask in the Discord, or probably better is I'm going to be hosting a talk on September 13th at 5 p.m. EST, where I'm going to be talking about my first tech internship experience this summer. And yeah, I'll give you all a lot of great tips, some many great takeaways, and yeah, look forward to that. But yeah, hope everyone enjoyed, and see you all around. Hope you enjoyed the rest of Global Hack Week.